Hey everybody, welcome to another video here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. It's the Carlton Freo preview, and I've got a brand new opposition fan channel to interview. I've got Druzy. What's up, my man?
Terry, it's been a long time coming, mate. We've been watching each other from the bushes, but yeah, big fan of what you do. We're just speaking about the fan engagement and whatnot. So I love your work. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. I was just saying off camera, the first time I saw you was 2020. It was lockdown here in Melbourne, and I heard you say that you didn't like Carlton fans because you thought that we didn't know how shit we were.
It's a bit harsh, hey. When I first started making videos, I had no idea what I was talking about, but I'll stand by that.
I love it. No, it's good, man. It's good to connect. I think the fan channels in the AFL are starting to pop, and yeah, it's good to collaborate. I think that's what we need to grow collectively. So, welcome. Now, Saturday night we're going again. Now I know. I've searched the forums. I've read the comments. I know you don't like Carlton. I know it. I know you
Oh,
Freo
yeah.
supporters don't like Carlton. So talk to me about how you see Carlton, because for us, like, we only look at Carlton from a certain lens, especially here in Melbourne. So what is your perception of the Blues and what we're doing and where we're at?
Okay, so basically, I have a lot of emotional trauma from the last few years of playing Carlton. So initially, the Mark Murphy goal, had my family over from England, first ever football game, got them on the Dockers side, watched Mark Murphy get that goal with about 20 seconds left. That broke my heart. And then that Jack Nunes goal after the siren. Again, absolute bullshit. Shouldn't have happened, but you won the game after the siren and broke my heart again. Last year at the MCG, I thought we were probably the better side for about 2.5, 3/4 of that game. Couldn't put the ball through the big sticks, and then Sam Walsh gets an absolute snaggeroonie and wins the game. And then you took my absolute favourite player, Adam Chera, from me. Like, he was my number one favourite Freo player, absolute gun. When we drafted him, I was like, man, this kid's a star. Like, it's not often that you get a player that polished out of the draft, like a Scott Pendlebury type. And I loved him from the first day that I saw him. And then, yeah, you took him away from me. So that's mainly where it comes from. It's not a hatred for the club. Like, I like watching you play. I like a lot of your players. It's just the emotional trauma that comes along with it, I think.
That's fascinating. It's so weird because it's such a unique situation that there's no team in the AFL apart from you guys. I'm trying to think. We don't really have like the wood over anyone in recent times because we've just been embarrassing, to say the least. And Freo just seems to be one that we seem to be getting on the right end of the luck, or whatever you call it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's
Some
a
bad
belief thing.
juju on our end, eh? Proper
I don't
bad
know.
juju.
I don't know. Something must have happened back in the 90s. There's something going on, but it's
Yeah.
strange. I actually think we're not dissimilar. I feel like we're a little bit older than you guys. Like, we both have young, up and coming nucleuses that are coming through.
And you stole our mitochondria, mate. You
What's
stole
that?
Adam Chera. You stole our
Yeah.
mitochondria, mate. If you're talking about nucleus and molecular cellular processes, you took our mitochondria. I'm not happy about it.
Yes, we did. Well, I didn't know you loved Chera that much. I
Oh,
didn't know.
man.
I'm obsessed with him. Him and George Stewart have been amazing for us.
They've been great. Yeah, no, Chera, like, as I said, from the day I saw him play football, I was like, this kid's special. It's just that, like, you can't teach a player to be that polished, like, skillfully, just, yeah. It's just a work of art, Adam Chera, and I miss him.
He is. So, what is the story on the Freo end? Great start to the season. You've got people in Victoria saying that they've beaten nobody. I totally disagree with that. I think you're playing great football. As a Freo fan, what's going on? How are you feeling?
It was a bit of a slow start, I felt. Obviously, that game in Adelaide, like, the first half was pretty good, and then we did what you guys did on the weekend, just didn't show up in the second half and nearly bottled it. So I wasn't too confident. But after we played GWS, that was a really high intensity game, 4-quarter effort, and we got out on top. And then to go over to Marvel away, which is somewhere we don't play well, and get a massive win against Essendon, even though Essendon are terrible at the moment. It's just good for our confidence. I think, yeah, we're playing some really good stuff. We've adopted this new modern brand of football that we're seeing, like Melbourne. You see they get the ball on the sort of back half, and then they just use the space, spread, which is what we've been doing quite well. Get the ball into grass and create a bit of chaos. So I like the brand that we're playing. The Longmuir plan is being implemented now. So yeah, we're playing some decent stuff. A big factor this weekend though is Heath Chapman and Hayden Young are out, and they're like our two most important like halfbacks in terms of progressing the ball forward. So they're massive outs because they've been really big for us this season. Like Heath Chapman's only played like less than 10 games of football, and he's already our best defender. Like he's going to be an absolute star. So him out and Hayden Young, he's the best kick out in our back line. That's going to be a massive factor. But I'm confident that the boys will show up given how we played last week.
Yeah. Well, Heath Chapman, I'm a big fan of. I don't know if you play Draft Stars, but I play that every week. And Heath Chapman is my cheap 6K guy. He's now risen in price, in value. He's been a bargain for me. So very happy. He's a little gun. There's actually two other players that I want to ask you about who I think are two of the most underrated players, maybe two of the top 10 or 15 underrated players in the comp. One is Switkowski and the other one is Alex Pearce. I think Alex Pearce is one of the best defenders in the league and doesn't get the love. Maybe it's a Western Australian, Victorian thing. I don't know. Maybe he gets the love in WA. Do you feel that?
Well, he's been our stand-in captain as well. He's been at the club for a long time. The thing with Alex Pearce is he's always seeming to have these like season-ending injuries. Like I think it was 2016, he snapped his shin. He's had a plethora of ligament injuries in his knee and ankle. So he's sort of always in and out. He's not like a constant. But when he's in, he's a great lockdown defender. And yeah, his big body. I think he's pretty rated from my lens as a Freo fan. Like obviously the Freo fans get around him. But Sam Switkowski, he is an absolute gun. He takes 2 steps where everyone's one. Like the way that he can break lines and whatnot. He's so accurate in front of goal as well. If Sam Switkowski gets a set shot within 40 meters, it's going through. Just like a really reliable player. And breaks down the lines, which is so important in today's AFL.
Man, we have an issue at Carlton. We love giving, there's always one small forward each fucking week that just we let off the leash. There's always one. And I get nightmares this week thinking about Switkowski or maybe Schultz. One of them I feel like one of them is going to get off the leash. What is the situation with Fife? Not from when he's getting back, but more so from you seem to have really evolved when he's not there, which is great. So when he does come back, what's the structure of how he fits back in? What's his spot? What's his place? I know he's that Fife, so he's one of the best players in the league and all of that. But how does he integrate back? Is he a midfielder? Is he a forward?
I reckon he's just the midfielder, to be honest. Our midfield depth isn't top notch. Obviously, without Chera now, Mundy's obviously aging. I think he could easily just slot into that midfield rotation. We've got Brayshaw running through there, obviously, all the time. Will Brodie, who's been a real good pickup. The human shovel, they call him. Just loves putting his head over the ball. Yeah, he's a gun, man.
Carlton supporter growing up, just
rats. But yeah, I think because we've been playing James Aish in the middle, so I think if there's a spot for James Aish, there's a spot for Nat Fife. I think he'll fit into the middle quite easily, and it'll sort of take the load off Brayshaw as well to not be tagged as much as he has been every single week this season.
Yeah, we don't seem to tag players. We seem to back ourselves in, and if someone gets off the leash, then we can put a George Hewitt. He can just play on them and just be aware. I think it's the new wave of the AFL. I feel like the coaches are kind of have this unspoken rule now with each other where they won't tag for the most part. I don't know. I kind of like it.
I think it's coming back in a bit. Well, as from a Freo perspective, Brayshaw's been tagged the last month. So, but I rate how Carlton have been going about it. Your contested work around stoppages. It's just, let's fight fire with fire. We're going to outwork you every day of the week. What's it been like for you, beating the Bulldogs, having that massive win? Obviously, first game of the season against Richmond, you haven't won in a while as well. Had all that momentum. But then to play the games that you have against Hawthorn and Port Adelaide where you don't show up in the second half, as a neutral, it's cool because the games are close. But I know firsthand after that Adelaide game, when your side doesn't show up in the second half, it just makes you feel so uncertain as a fan of where you're actually at. So how has that felt?
It's tough. On game day, it's stressful and it's the fear of completely muffing it has hit really deeply. But then, like, once the siren goes and then you sleep and you think about it, like, these are literally the exact games we lost last year, the year before, and we have been losing them. I think the club from our end's done a really good job of getting the message right and being real with the fans, not giving us what we want to hear, but what we need to hear. And that is that, like, we're a good team. We are nowhere near a great team. We're a solid team. I wouldn't say we're too good just yet. I think we've got like clear talent and clear pieces that are really good, but together they don't really haven't proven that they can work well for an entire season. Like, it's been a great 5 weeks. We're 4-1. Like, I would have taken it if you said you're going to be 4-1 and every single one of your wins is going to be like stressful. Yeah, I'll take it. And I'm pretty confident we're going to get better as the season goes. And we got Michael Voss, mate. Like, we got Voss.
He's so good, man. Yeah. He's so good. Like, you can clearly see that Port Adelaide and Carlton have just swapped, and all that is the transaction of Voss. He's a great coach.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I like the way you guys are coached. I must say that Freo's a very interesting side for me. There are certain teams I just like watching because there's usually 7 to 8 players that I just think are guns. And for draft stars as well, for whatever reason, the Freo, the West Coast teams, they don't get the same respect as like the Victorian teams, and it shows up in their prices in draft stars. And so I find myself finding these bargains, and they play well. So I've taken to them a lot.
Yeah, the young stars in particular, or just the underrated players at the Dockers?
Just the underrated play. Like, there's some seriously good players there, electric players that I just enjoy watching. You're just not a team that I have anything against. I think also the close wins, like, you feel for them, because you're right. We've been let out of jail a couple of times, and I said this in my preview. I have this like dirty feeling that we're going to be taught a really harsh lesson soon, whether it's this week or next week, because I still think we're going to be able to get ourselves a nice lead this week. I think we'll have a nice run of play, just a matter of how good that is. But by the same token, I know that you guys will have a sick run of play this week too.
It's going to be a real close game. Hey, like, as soon as that final siren went against Essendon, I was like, oh my God, I'm already so nervous for that fourth quarter against Carlton. Just the PTSD from the last few games. Like, yeah, I'm real nervous for it. Freo are one of the best defensive sides in the comp at the moment as well. Yes. Like, opposition scores, I think, are only second to Melbourne. Our problem at times has been the inability to just kick goals. Like, we'll have enough possession and momentum in games to be able to have the opportunities, but actually kicking it through the 2 big sticks has been an issue. So the fact that we can't put teams to the sword when we need, although we did against Essendon, hopefully we can kick goals when the opportunities present on Saturday night. But that, along with being able to defend your Mackay's and Kernos and Silvani's, it's going to be a close game. I know it's going to be decided by less than 2 goals again. And this Carlton Freo rivalry, I don't know if you guys feel it on your end, but it's like one of the first fixtures I look to on the calendar, because the last few have just, they're just, I don't know, they're different. There was a journalist who asked Longmuir, like, big game against Carlton this week, the return of Chera, all of the like drama in the last few years. And he's like, we just look at it from a week-to-week perspective. We don't read into the narrative at all. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys feel like there's a bit of something? Obviously, you guys have massive rivals with like Richmond, Collingwood, Essendon. But like, there's these weird rivalries in the AFL, like St Kilda and Gold Coast the last few years. They've like had really tough games, like mid double O's, Sydney and West Coast. Obviously, they were on a bigger scale, but like not rivals by the location of the club, but just the games that the two sides play, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I do feel like there's a little something brewing with Freo, and we seem to have these close games. But to be totally honest, like, Freo is just not a club that I look at with any, like, listen, mate, 80,000 members over here, mate. We're not dealing with the B grade Freo.
Fair enough. Look, we're a niche market.
You're a startup.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, well, we were created the year before you won the flag, so
yes, that
shows you everything you need to know.
We've won just as many flags as each other ever since. So
yes,
No, I sense a little bit of confidence coming back as a fan, which is always dangerous because as soon as we get a little bit of confidence, we get humbled. So I'm very mindful of that, but I can't help it. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's peaks and troughs, highs
Yeah.
and lows, swings and roundabouts in football, especially supporting teams like ours. Like, it'd be so nice to support a team like Geelong. They're just always good, although they lost on Monday, but they're just consistently good. With us, I feel like we can show up one week, beat Essendon by just about 50 points, and then bottle the next game by 30.
Yeah.
It's not good for your emotion sport. I tell you what, if you don't support a team, never choose one, and you'll live a happy life.
Yeah. Well, so from your lens, I'm obviously I only see it from the outside, but how do you see Freo and where they're going, and how far away from really contending do you think they are? Like, what's missing, or do you have it? It just needs development.
I think we have it. It's our forward line. Like, our forward line has so much experience, but it just doesn't have that X factor. Like, you've got Taberner, who's 29. He kicked 7 on the weekend, but I think that's a bit inflated. Rory Lobb. Yeah, I don't think it will either. Rory Lobb, who's in there, like, requested a trade at the end of last year, so sort of doesn't want to be there. And then you got like Michael Walters, who was a great player in his prime, but sort of obviously at the tail end of his career now. We've got like Jai Amos out of the draft, the top-rated WA forward. Josh Tracy, Vic Country boy, just like attacks the ball so hard. And then Sam Sturt as well, who was when he got drafted was touted to be the next Nat Fyfe. So we got these players in the forward line. If you chuck them in with like a Switkowski, Schultz, Michael Frederick, that's a really good forward line. I think we need to develop that more. But I think we've got like the second or third youngest list in the comp. So for us to be competing the way we are already in like this part of our development, it's good signs for the future. I think, just the forward craft really, and being effective when we are going forward. Because as I said, we have possession of the ball a lot, but we just can't get the ball through the goals. So once we can start doing that, like you can see Melbourne when they have the ball, and they have the momentum in games, they'll kick 10 goals in a quarter and they'll just end the game. Like, we have enough of the ball and enough inside 50s to do that. It's just a matter of kicking snags. But I think maybe another 2 to 3 years and we'll be really contending. Maybe 4 years. Well, the thing is 2025 flag mantle. So let's go with 2025. We'll be in a prelim at least.
I like that. No, I like that. So I did this last week with the pair, Anthony Lessiani, and this turned out to be really good for me. I don't think I'll ever be able to do it again. I literally said we'd win by 3 and Charlie would kick 5. So I'm going to try it again.
Don't tell me that. Tell me Freo by 3 goals.
Well, I'll let you go first. I want you to give me a bit of a prediction and a storyline, not necessarily margin, but like just what's the story going to be of the game, and then who's going to win.
All right, so this is what the head says. The head says Freo dominate possession, lose by 2 goals. Harry Mackay kicks 5. That's the head. But the heart says Rory Lobb has his best game of the season and kicks 3. Switkowski puts on a show, kicks 3. Schultz back into the side, makes a bit of an X factor. Dockers show up for a real good, consistent effort and win by 3 goals. But I can't see it happening after the years of emotional trauma against Carlton, if I'm being honest. My head predicts Carlton by 2 goals. My heart says Freo by 3 goals. Let's go with that.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, Jack Silvani had his, what I would say his breakout game, sort of, against Freo. He tagged Fyfe in the second half and did a pretty good job, and Carlton supporters have been talking about it ever since. So I am going to say my big worry is the ruck, because Sean Darcy's there's just a lot of human.
Too big, too strong, man.
Just a lot of him, and when we don't get first use, I think that's where we can get a little undone. But having said that, I think you guys are a really fast starting side as well. So I actually think we'll get out to a solid little lead, and then I think we're going to be in a little position again where it's like, all right, are they going to be able to maintain the lead, and are they going to be able to hold on, or are we going to choke? I think you'll come back at us, but I think ultimately we'll win by 22 points, and Jack Silvani will kick 4.
I could see that happening, to be honest. It's just a matter of can we kick goals when you guys sort of sit back and invite the pressure on? But it's going to be a real tight game. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be there, but I'm already nervous for it. I don't get nervous like this for games. Because yeah, we've only played Adelaide, GWS, West Coast, Essendon. Those are our 4 wins. So this is a real measuring stick game. Can we mix it with these big boys? We're going to see on Saturday.
I don't think you can. We're a top 4 side over here at the Carlton. And I think we're ready to put you back in your place, mate.
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right. Consistent with our history.
We will see. We'll see. Mate, listen, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate your time. Time is the most valuable asset. So I appreciate you giving me some of yours.
Facts. I appreciate it. No, shout out to all the Carlton fans. I don't hate yous, but your club has caused me a lot of emotional grief over the years. So just let me grieve. But no, thanks for having me on the channel. Love what you're doing over here. And yeah, good luck with the rest of the season, but not on Saturday.